Hello everyone, let's continue by adding the dialogue options for Hope dialogue sequence. So let's go to textures and let's import a couple of images I made. So this is going to be icons. Let's move this one here and remember to set texture to sprite 2D, apply. We don't want to generate physics, and in the sprite, let's open the sprite editor. Nothing to change here, sorry. What we also want to do is to create a duplicate of this one, so select it, Ctrl D, and this one we want to set it to editor GUI legacy. This is a requirement for ORK editor, so let's click apply. What we can do is change the name, so F12, F2, and put it texture, something like that. And also we want this one to move it to the root of the resources folder, so let's move it there. There we go. Now let's go back to the textures and we want to import the next one. There we go. So we have the dialog content box. Let's change it to sprite. We don't want to generate physics. Click apply, and in the sprite editor, this one, yes, we want to change 14, 16, yeah, and click apply. So it will be a sliced sprite for this one. The next step will be to create a prefab out of this new texture we added. So let's navigate to our scenes folder and select the empty scene where we have this canvas for prototyping our prefabs, and we have this post dialog content box, so we can reuse this one. What we can do is let's disable the Hope Comms content box, enable this one, the post dialog, and from here let's go to prefab, unpack completely. So any change we made, well, we don't want to lose anything from the previous prefab. So the first thing we need to do is rename this prefab. So instead of post, it will be like a P dialog content box, let's say. And in the source image, of course, we want to add our new image there. So let's go to textures and drag our new image. The next thing we could want to do is, you remember that we have these animated objects in the background, but they are like gray out, so let's change a little bit the color to be more consistent with the one we had with the main GUIBox. So we have some predefined swatch we made earlier, so we can select one of those for each effect. There we go. So now we can drag this game object to create a prefab out of it. So let's go to our prefabs UI and drag it back. So we have our prefabs made already. Save the scene and let's go back to the Ark scene. and let's start building the event for the dialogues. If you remember last time, we for hope we added this empty hope dialog event. So before starting to modify it, let's create our dialog GUIBox. So let's open ORK Framework editor. Let's move to the menus, then GUIBoxes, and from here let's duplicate the button list GUIBox. So let's create a copy of it and let's name it Dialog GUIBox. Save settings, and let's start playing with it, the properties here. The first thing we want to do is to change the content box settings. So let's increase the width and the X. So 1050 for the X, the width will be 540, 240 for the height, and in the Y we can set 650. Then for the padding, let's add 5 pixels for the Y. So let's move down. We don't need name box in this case, it's already disabled. For the choice settings, we have already set to list, which is okay. Loop selection and select first is already selected, which is also okay. We don't want tab settings. We can close all the behaviors, and in override default settings, we want to override the GUI skins, which is already selected, and in this case it's using the ppost dialog, so we want to change that one for the one we just created. So click on select, and let's see if this is going to work now. So we want the P, what is it? P dialog content box. One more try. There we go. And remember to select the resources here as well. Now for the choice button settings, we also want to select the existing prefab we made before. So this one will be choice button, and we want to enable the fade button children color as we had in the save menu. Just reviewing the last thing, we have the choice icon, which is already set. So let's save the settings. You can always preview your dialog, open the GUI editor. Let's close this one, save again, and now we can start playing with the dialog event. So let's go to the Events tab and open Game Event and select Hop Dialog Event. The first thing we want to do here in the event settings, global settings, or the main settings for the event, is to block player control and block control maps, and also blocking event. You can read the documentation by clicking the comment or whatever, however you set the help to be displayed in the editor. Okay, so next thing what we want to do is to add a block HUD node. So let's go to UI HUD block HUD, and the HUD we want to block is the interaction talk. So let's block it. After blocking the HUD, we are good to display our dialog. So choose UI dialog, show dialog, and from here the settings we are going to change is that we want this dialog type to be a choice type of dialog. The GUIBox we want to use is the one we created, dialog GUIBox. The message to display is going to be, what do you need? Click OK, and let's go down where we have this option to start adding the choices. So let's add the new choice, click Edit, and let's add, the text will be replenish items, and we are going to add our icon, our exclamation icon we added. So let's click on more, move to the start of the string and click on icon. Then we can select the icon we need. If you click on the help, you will see that select an icon located in the resources folder, no subfolder. That's why we added our copy, our duplicate texture there. And also it needs to be not a sprite but standard texture. So let's see if we can find it like so. So T exclamation texture. There it is. We don't want the original size because it's too big, so let's change the width and height. Let's say 32 by 32 and click on add icon. Let's add one space in between the icon and the text. You can select this the setting for the icon and copy it, so we can just paste it for the rest of the choices and click OK. Now let's add a new one. Click on edit text, and this one is going to be talk to Hope. I just copy the settings for the icon, talk to Hope, and click OK. And the last option is going to be console. So edit, I will add like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces and click cancel. Okay, let's save before something bad happens. And there we go, we have our first dialog with the choices. So what we want here to happen is when we click on cancel, let's start by that one. We want to close all dialogues. So let's add a new node, UI dialog, and choose the close all dialogues. And after closing all dialogues, we want to unblock the interaction talk HUD. So let's copy this one, copy, and instead of blocking, we want to unblock. There we go. Let's keep saving. Now let's go to the branching section here. So when the first choice option is selected, it's going to display the store or the shop screen for the things that you can buy from Hope. We are going to do that later on, so for now let's just display a message or display a simple dialog here. So show dialog, and the text we are going to show here is going to be implemented when making the shops. Okay. And also, instead of message, let's change it to auto close. Let's select the dialog GUIBox as well, and since we have the auto close selected, we now have this option here, close after, and let's add like 4 seconds. Then we need to go back to the show dialog, so for that let's add a wait node. So add base wait a couple of seconds, and let's go back to the show dialog. There we go. Now the next one, which is the talk to hop, we are going to display another choice dialog with 3 choices. So let's add a new node, UI dialog, show dialog. Again, this one is going to be a choice type of dialog. We select the dialog GUIBox again, and for the message, let's click edit, and this one is hope asking, what would you like to know? Click OK. So we have the text there, and let's add our choices. So for this one we want 1, 2, 3, 4. For the choice 0, the first one, click on edit text, paste the icon settings we had earlier, and type about the savior. Click OK. Let's go to the next one. Choice 1, about the Ark. Click OK. Scroll down. Paste icon settings, about hope. Click OK, and the last one will be the console. So edit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces and click console. Okay, let's save. And here when we select any of these choices, what is happening in the game that like a cutscene, dialogue type of cutscene will start. So this is something that we are going to implement later on again. So let's copy the to be implemented dialog and use it for all these choices, and just let's change the text to be implemented when making the cut scenes. At least this is to at least display something when we choose these options. So again, afterwards we need the wait node, about 2 seconds, and go back to the show dialog. Now when we click on cancel here, we actually want to go back to the previous show dialog. So let's try this one again. There we go. Okay, so save the event and close the editor. Okay, so let's start the scene. Okay, more or less. We can play now a little bit with how the text is displayed in the GUIBox. So let's see, open GUI editor, dialog. Maybe add a little more padding here, 8 or 10. Save the settings. Now we can go back to the event where we are setting the text. So for example, in the what do you need, let's edit the text and let's change display the text align to the middle. Save event. Let's do the same for the what would you like to know, middle, and perhaps change the size of the font. So instead of 20, let's add 18. Save. And see how it looks now. Okay, click play. No, too little. Too small the text. So let's go back to the editor. The wrong one. Hope dialog, and let's remove the changes about the size. Text size. Let's see if I didn't break anything by doing so. And one more thing I want to change is the effects of the dialog prefab. So let's go back there. We have resources, prefabs, UI, dialog content box. Let's open the prefab. And for each effect, let's just change a little bit the alpha channel. .78, something like that. Okay, so let's try it again. Yeah, what we can do is increase the width of the dialogue, of course. But it's not completely in the center, in the middle, the text. So let's see what we can do about it. Edit text. So maybe no, it's not middle, it's center. Actually, it was my mistake. So let's change that to center. There we go. Okay, save. Edit text for the other one. Center. Okay, save event. Yeah, much better. Let's increase the dialogue width a little bit. Yeah, there is a lot of trial and error, even though we have this what you see, what you get type of let's do that. Save the settings. Okay, so the last tweak I will do is in the not implemented text. What do I need to save? This every time this freaked me out. Anyways, so let's select the show dialog here for the not implemented. Click on edit text, and this one, yes, I think we need in the middle this time. Save event, and let's do the same for the other. Cutscenes is a single word. Cutscenes, and click on middle. Save event. Well, not in the middle as I expected, but let's leave it for now like so, and in the next video we are going to start making the cutscenes, which is a long process, a tedious one I will say, because we are going to use voice audio as well. So see you on the next time.